Hello, boys and girls. Mrs. Chauhan here. I'm going to lead you through a math lesson today. It's more kind of like a routine. You can see this paper right here on my desk. There's numbers 1 through 10 that you're going to practice while you're at home learning. And the routine for each number is the same. So I'm just going to show that to you today. And then the plan is for you to do just one number a day. You can use things around your house that you can find. You could use macaroni noodles, you could use pennies, you can use anything that's small enough to fit in these boxes and in the jar that you can find at home. It's up to you. For today, I'm going to use some buttons and some connecting cubes. All right, so your first step when you get this out is to read the number. Say the number. So what number do we have for today, boys and girls? 1. Here is the number word 1. What letters do you see in the word 1? O-N-E. Good. 1. Up here, you are going to count it. So you're going to count the number of objects that you see in this box. How many do you see? 1. In this middle box here, you are going to trace the number that we're practicing for the day. And this is perfect because for number 1, we're practicing going from top to bottom, which if you're in my classroom, we say that all the time when we're doing handwriting. We start at the top and then we go down to the bottom. So you will see a dot at the top of the number 1, and there's actually an arrow showing you what direction to go. So we're going to start at the top, just like I said, and we're going to do a straight line down and then stop when we get to that arrow. So you're just tracing the number 1. Easy peasy, a lemon squeezy. Some of the other numbers are a little bit trickier, but you've got this. So remember, top to bottom. Okay, once you have traced the number in that middle box, you are going to then build it. What do you see here, boys and girls? A 10 frame. So this is awesome because we're training our brains to be able to tell how many objects are in a 10 frame without having to actually count them. So this is going to be great practice. Once you've done this at home, hopefully you're continuing to train your brain. So when you see a 10 frame while you're here at school with your teacher or anywhere else, you know how many are in the 10 frame immediately without having to count them. That means you're subitizing. All right, so I'm going to use buttons for the 10 frames. So I'm going to put, oh, shoe boppers. Nope, I'm just kidding. I'm going to use the cubes for the 10 frame. I don't think my cubes will fit in my jar over here, so I said that backwards. Okay, so I'm going to just put 1 cube in the 10 frame. So remember, for these activities, we're going to start in this first box and fill going this direction. When we get to the end of the first row, which obviously we won't today because we're only doing number 1. But once we continue and you get to the end of this row, remember we go back to the beginning of the next one. All right, so when you have 1 object in a 10 frame, you should only have 1 box filled. So train your brains to know that when there's 1 object in 1 box in the 10 frame, that means there's only 1. Okay, this is where I was going to use the buttons. I'm going to go ahead and place a button in my jar. The last step is for you to fill it. You're going to fill the jar. So that is all I have for you today. I just wanted to show you the routine. And then once you do this, after you fill your jar, you can go ahead and go back up here where you had to count it, and you can go ahead and color that crayon if you would like. So there you have it. I'm going to also in this lesson do number 2. So here's number 1. Same routine for number 2. Sorry about that. Okay, same routine for number 2. I do believe yours is back to back, so you shouldn't have to fumble around with your papers. I think you can just flip your number 1 over, and you will find number 2. All right, let's read the number 2. Read the word 2. What letters do you see in the word 2, boys and girls? T, W, O. Good. We're going to once again count the crayons. So remember, there are strategies that you can use for counting. Because these crayons are actually on your paper, you're not going to be able to move them while counting to keep track, but we can touch each crayon with our finger as we're counting. So go ahead and do that as I touch the crayons. Here's 1, 2. How many crayons? 2. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and trace the number 2. There's a little 1 here. This is showing us where we are going to start. We have that arrow down here again, and then a number 2 that shows that we have to go back this way. This is my little saying when we're writing number 2. Around the railroad tracks, stop, and back. 2, 2, 2, 2. So you can go ahead and say that if that helps you. We're going to go around the railroad tracks, stop, and back. 2, 2, 2, 2. Now, notice I'm taking my time, boys and girls. 2s can be a little bit tricky. So we need to just make sure that we're taking our time so we can go around that railroad track. Nice and easy. Around the railroad track, stop, and back. 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, in the 10 frames, we are going to build it. So this time, I need more cubes. And remember, we're going to start in that first box there. And then move on to the right from there. So how many cubes do you see in my 10 frame, boys and girls? And does it match our number that we're practicing today? Oh, no. I apologize about the blinking. Okay, so train your brains, boys and girls, to know that when 2 of the boxes in a 10 frame are full, that means that there are 2 objects. Okay, your last step is to fill it. I'm going to say second to last step. Fill it. So I'm going to go ahead and use my buttons again. Now, we're not, boys and girls, we're not literally filling the whole jar. Okay, we're not just going to keep doing this and placing objects in here until the jar is full. I understand it says fill it, but remember we're focusing on one number today, and that number is 2. So I'm going to only put 2 buttons in my jar. All right, once you have done that, you may go back. This is your last step. You may go back and you can color your crayons. So the same routine is going to be in place every single day when you're practicing one of these numbers. Your teachers have planned for 1 number per day. So find some objects around your house that are small enough that you can fit them in the boxes, and you can put the number that you have to put in the jar. You could use stickers if you wanted to. It doesn't necessarily have to be things that you can take off of the board. You could use stickers. That would be fun. So anything you can find around the house. And if you have any questions at all about this activity, you can ask your teacher. I will talk to you later, boys and girls.